your consciousness, in your skill sets, in your financial landscape, if you're ascending further than some of your family ever has or ever thought that they could, or that they thought that you could, and there may be a little bit of a crabs in the bucket effect, right? Where they're maybe taking digs at you or making little comments here and there and not supporting or being excited for you.
Welcome to the Growth Drivers Podcast, the show where we break down the leadership frameworks, mindset shifts, and strategies that fuel entrepreneurial success, personal transformation, and business breakthroughs.
I'm Rachel Novak.
And I'm Mike Novak.
Let's dive in and start driving your growth.
All right, what would we tell our 20-year-old self at this point, now that we're 40 years old, right? We're twice this age at this point. Into the 40s, you're about to turn 40 in 3-4 months.
12 months.
But I've been there for a little bit now. And we have the benefit of hindsight now, right? And lots of lessons learned. And a lot of people ask us like, hey, if you could go do this over again, what would you do differently? And I think that that's a great question, but I think a better framework to that is like, what would I tell myself maybe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so let's just like jump right into this, and we'll share with you kind of like the things that we learned. And I would say like, just to give some additional context to this, I became an entrepreneur at 18 years old, right? Like literally right out of school. And it took me till I was 35 years old, 17 years to kind of figure it out. Like, I definitely wouldn't say I have it figured out, but I started to kind of understand the formula, right? Like it just took that long. It's a long ass game to get to the level that people want to get at. They think like, hey, they look at Instagram, they're like, man, it's overnight success, and it's just not the way it is. You know what I mean? It's decades.
Well, people see what you do, what you have, the lifestyle you've built, and because it is who you are now, like you've reached mastery level in many things across different domains, you make it look easy. And when you and I, when we've built all these skills and we've had all these experiences and we have all this knowledge, now we make this life look easy. We make, real estate look easy. We make fitness look easy. We make it look easy what we do because we've been doing it for so long. What they don't see is that 17 years of struggle and all of these things that we'll get into and all this advice that we would definitely give our 20-year-old self.
Right. And the problem with giving a 20-year-old advice, and I know this would be true for me when I was 20, is I wasn't in a position to receive that advice.
Exactly.
Someone could have literally told me all these things. I'd be like, that's nice.
I'm going to go figure it out.
Yeah, I got this, right? And so like, if you're one of those 20-year-olds and you're listening to this, or maybe you have a 20-year-old in mind that you want to send this to, I would challenge you, like really like be open-minded to listening to some of this, because it could save you a couple $100,000, it could save you a couple $1 million, it could shave 10 years off your trajectory, right? These are like lessons from the trenches. So the first one, we'll just jump right in. Pay for proximity. People often ask me, you probably get this question too, Mike, what's the cheat code? When people say what's the cheat code, like they're looking for, I think, the shortcut.
Of course.
Is that what you say? Like,
of course, yeah.
Like, how do I get from point A to point B as fast as possible? And I appreciate the spirit of this question, because it's usually from really driven people. Like they want to do a lot and they want to do it quickly. And there are certain ways you can accelerate your path. Like I said just a minute ago, it takes a long time to reach a high level of success. But there are certain things you can do. And this is like one of the biggest, most important ones to speed up that trajectory, is to have the right proximity to the right people.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I want to emphasize pay for proximity.
Yes.
Because this isn't about going and trying to glean and leech off people and do the pick your brain, gotta minutes. Like we're talking paying people, like offering value, offering money, offering something, service to get next to people that are doing things, even if that's time, if that's internship.
Well, so that's exactly what I was going to say. There's two ways to access this. The first one is to write the check, right? And that's what we did. The second one is to work for this person, right?
For
And
free or very
or
little.
very little,
Mhm.
right? But know that you're going to get like this like 6-figure or 7-figure experience,
Skill
right?
set, right?
Like you're going to see the front lines of what do these people do every day that's built what they've got.
Mhm.
And that is like invaluable. I mean, Ed Milet has talked about this a lot. He
Mhm.
always shares like, hey, if you can find the right mentor, go work for that person for whatever it takes
Yep.
for 2 years.
Yep.
Right. And so you can do it that way as well. And we've done that with people, right? Like we've had like the showing partners on our team where
Mhm.
they've like Jen is a perfect example of this. Like she paid for proximity, right?
Mhm.
And she paid that through her time.
Yeah, I mean, she was
So
paid a very low salary, but the skill sets that she now has, she can personally generate multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars of income for herself off of the skill sets she learned during that time.
right. It's how I think when she sell like 27 homes her first year as a
Mhm.
full-time real estate agent, like that's
Mhm.
unheard of.
No,
So
exactly.
when we say proximity though, let's kind of shape this for people. Like we're talking about mentorship.
Hmm.
If you can get somebody to mentor you, that's going to be probably the best thing because a lot of mentors don't expect to be paid for it. They want to like pass along
Yeah.
and contribute back because every single person who has achieved something extraordinary understands the opportunity they were given and they want to pay that forward. I've yet
Yes.
to meet somebody who doesn't have that mindset that's got abundance. Have you?
No, I have yet to meet somebody as well that doesn't have that mindset. However, the caveat is that the mentorship is given and it's given willingly and happily to recipients,
Yes.
to somebody who's truly going to listen, truly going to take action. So if you're just asking people flippantly for information or to do something for you and you haven't provided a lick of value to them, they're going to be a lot less inclined to give you that mentorship.
Yeah, I mean, mentorship usually comes from some kind of pre-established relationship where this person knows who you are, you know who they are, and they start kind of like guiding you. And I had a few mentors
Mhm.
in business. Brian Marquis was one, right? Like learned a lot about like tactical, just like aggressive, like cutthroat business from this guy.
Yeah.
And it was invaluable, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, those are things that you would never get in business school,
Yeah.
right? And I got a front seat to it working with this
Yep.
guy.
I mean,
Um,
I still have mentors
so
as well who I don't pay money to, but there are exchanges and exchanges of value in different ways. Zen is a perfect example, who's become truly one of my great friends, but she's also a mentor in a lot of ways where, she's able to tap into my network of people and she's gotten coaching clients from direct referrals from me, but at the same time, she still mentors me and there's a mutual exchange of value both ways.
Yeah. So you don't have to pay for mentorship, but the mentor needs to see something in you that they really believe in.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they're just not going to be interested.
Yeah.
And if they're not interested, you have to respect that. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to give their time to everyone.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They, like you said, they have to feel like it's reciprocal. They have to feel like there's value and the opportunity for impact
Yep.
through the time they're going to invest.
Exactly.
In the bodybuilding domain, Jay Cutler comes to mind, right? Like Jay Cutler, everyone knows who that is. My coach, AJ Sims, got to literally have him as a mentor for like 5 years. He like lived on Jay's couch and got mentored by Jay every single day. Did he get paid for that time? No.
Mhm.
Did he get like an opportunity that would later make him a ton of money and open up doors he would never have access to? Yes. Right?
Exactly.
So
He put his time in.
yeah, mentorship is the first one. Masterminds would be the second one. Masterminds is probably the most overused term in the last 5 years, especially in real estate. So like when we say the words mastermind, like what are we telling people? Like it's really like a progressive room of like-minded people, right?
Yes, exactly. And there's different types of masterminds. Like there is more of like a conference style mastermind that's like a 1 to 3 day kind of event that you're paying to go and be in a room and have proximity to people who are doing things, but it's going to be a quick hit. It's going to be just
That's presentation style.
Yeah, 24 to 72 hours presentation style mastermind. And that's certainly a great opportunity for people. Those can vary from inexpensive to very expensive depending on who's running it and who's organizing it and where it is. And then there is a mastermind, like an ongoing mastermind. So we've been part of one. Hatch Mastermind comes to mind. We were part of that for many years and it was incredibly it was an incredible time, an incredible experience for us. We made a ton of great relationships. We learned a lot. We were able to contribute a lot. And then now, for instance, now I run the Wartime CEO Mastermind. So it's for women in any kind of leadership position whatsoever, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're in real estate, whether, they're even just leading their families. And it's every single week. And there's a ton of proximity and lessons and challenges. And so there's, these ladies are paying for the proximity of conversation with other like-minded people, right? Other like-minded women.
Why is a free mastermind kind of a red flag to you?
Because there's not incentive from the top, from whoever's leading that mastermind, to really provide a significant amount of value or to keep it going for any length of time.
Right. So we've been part of when we're in. I'm not going to name the mastermind because it's confidential, but we're in one that is not a paid one. There's an expectation of massive contribution, which is really cool, and it's a very high level mastermind. But there's no like ringleader, right?
Yep.
There's no one that organizes things, so it feels a little bit disorganized. And I think the other thing that is lacking is skin in the game.
Yeah.
When there's not skin in the game in the form of money involved, you're going to get less people showing up for these masterminds because they haven't put any money into it.
Right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Like, so when you put money into something, you write that check, you now feel committed to not only show up, but to actually implement what you're learning.
Hope so.
And kind of like what you said on the Hatch Mastermind, like in my perspective on masterminds is you will get out of them exactly what you put into them, right? If you come there as a participant and you're just there like receiving information, you're not going to get a great experience. But if you come there ready to learn, but also share, because there's probably a couple things that you do that other people can massively learn from, then that's where things really get interesting.
That's exactly
and that's what
right.
the Hatch one got for a couple of years, where it was like really fun. Like you got people in this room that all do some things very differently at a very, very high level, and they're all an open book to share it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay, so we've got mentors, masterminds, and then the next one would be coaches.
Yep.
Paying for proximity in coaches. And this is in any domain. This is a life or mental coach. This is a therapist or counselor. This is a fitness, health, nutrition coach. And then, of course, this is a business coach. There are people that specialize in every single area, every single domain, every single specialty. And we've talked about this before, so we won't go into it deeply. But when you're looking for a coach and paying for the proximity of somebody else's experience and somebody else's guidance, the number one thing that you need to look for is track record. Have they accomplished what you are trying to accomplish?
Right. And I like the idea of moving around coaches in the business space. I don't like it in the body space. Like I like sticking with one person who like learns your body and everything else, and they have a great dynamic with. But in the business space, there's different coaches, like you said, that specialize in different things. Like for instance, you can go find a coach that specializes in multifamily investment properties and like master that part of your business, build it, and get it running awesome, and then move on to the next thing. Maybe the next thing is property management. You build a property management out and you hire a coach just for that. Maybe you want to build a mega team and you need like an awesome recruiting coach. You hire like Chet Black or something like that. So there's these people that specialize in different things.
Have niches.
And it's totally okay to have that coach for like 3 to 6 months, learn all of their systems, have them help you implement what they specialize in, and then move on to the next person. You know what I mean? And like ask around. There's some great coaches out there. There's a lot of fucking bullshit coaches too that have not been there and have not done it. And they, instead of selling houses, they just take real estate agents' money. But you can tell who those people are really fast. Go look them up on Zillow, see if they've sold houses.
Yeah, exactly.
See what their track record is as a coach, right?
Exactly right. Yep. Yeah. At the end of the day, like what you're looking for when you're paying for proximity, whether you're paying with money, whether you're paying with your time, whether you're paying with, your like day-to-day experiences and kind of an internship style, you're looking for people that have been where you want to go, right? And so to our 20-year-old selves, maybe you don't know exactly where you want to go. You don't know exactly where the path leads quite yet, but you do know that you have an interest in this particular area. Go pay for the proximity for somebody who knows that area inside and out, and learn everything you can, implement everything that they tell you. That right there is the fast track to success.
Right. Getting the roadmap.
Exactly.
And then holding your feet to the fire to actually do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Number 2, love this one. Understand that money is not everything.
Yeah. This is one that I don't think people understand until they actually like experience a significant financial income level.
Exactly.
Right? Like this isn't really something that people understand until they get to that point.
And it's funny. There's going to be somebody listening to this that says, that's something the rich people say.
Sure. Yeah. I can get that. But I would also challenge that person to, find joy in what they do without money. Because it's super possible. Money is awesome. It opens up doors and opportunities, allows you to do really cool shit. Like I love being able to do awesome stuff for people we love and care about because we can. But it certainly will not make you a happy person.
Exactly.
If you're already like frustrated and hate your life, it's just going to shine a brighter light on that.
Yeah, it
magnifies it.
It's just going to say it magnifies who you already are.
Right.
Right. So and same with spending habits, right? If you do not have good spending habits, then no matter how much money you ever make, you will always struggle with money.
Yeah, no, we should definitely circle back to money habits here in just a minute because there's a lot to learn there as well, and a lot of mistakes that we've made, and I see other people continue to make. But this is just a hard one for people to understand until they get to this point. But if you can gain the perspective that money is not really the biggest, most important thing, you're going to be a lot happier of a person, right? You're gonna enjoy the journey and the progression to get from where you're at to where you want to go. The money just becomes kind of a milestone at some point.
Yeah,
like it's super easy to measure. It's very tangible, but ultimately it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I think a way to kind of reframe that money is not everything is almost like there has to be gratitude in every season, right? Because you and I have lost everything twice. So if either of us were in it for the money, we would have been screwed a long time ago, right? We were in it for the life. We were in it for the happiness together. Like no matter what we ever had, no matter what we ever have, we are a solid unit because we every day find the good things. We look for reasons to be grateful in our life, regardless of the financial landscape.
Right. So find a way to experience gratitude daily and find joy daily without waiting to experience those things until you have money.
Yeah, because that is what I think a 20-year-old, our 20-year-old selves, it was always when I hit this much income, when I have that much money in the bank, then I'll be happy. Then I can relax. Then I can chill out. Then I can go to my kids' birthday parties. Then I can take time off. Like, don't wait for that. That's not the end all be all of what's going to make you happy in life.
Yeah. Don't make a contingency on your happiness being a certain financial threshold because it's just not going to change when you get there.
Right.
You know what I mean? All right. Next one, quality over quantity. This is a really big one and it applies in a multitude of ways. As I kind of look back on the last 20 years of our life, and I look at friendships as kind of like the first component of this. A lot of people think that like having lots of friends is like the place to be. It's never been like something that I've pursued. Like I've tried to go really deep on select friendships. There was a period of time where I didn't have like really any close friends for like 10 years because I was just really laser focused on what I needed to do. And then like in my mid 30s, I started like really developing some awesome relationships. Guys like Colton, Mike Rowland, Chuck, like people that really had a big impact on my life. But I don't need like 30 of these guys. I want to be like super honed in and close to like 3 or 4 of them. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly right. I think like as a 20s something, you kind of think like, well, a lot of people do at least. I want to have a network. I want a lot of people to like me. And so I consider all of these people my friends. And the mistake that a lot of 20-year-olds make or a lot of younger people make is not going deeper into the friendships with people who are quality and really nurturing that relationship like on a deeper level.
Right. When you have like too many relationships or too many friendships, they end up becoming pretty topical, like not really deep, and you can't show up in the way you want to for that many people. You just can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're spread way too thin. So I think like having a couple of really like legit, authentic friendships is really, really important. But I don't think that it's something you need like dozens of to like feel great about yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this isn't just with friendships, but this is with partnerships, in business. This is with obviously relationships. Like, a lot of 20s people, they get married. That's their person. They're excited. But then over the years, they stop investing and really going deeper in their marriage with that person, right? As you and I have experienced being together for literally 20 years this year, we evolve. There are different versions of ourselves and each other and different priorities we have and different interests we pick up. And as we evolve, we get to know each other and we get to accept this new version and this, relearn things as we evolve and ascend as humans. And the people that don't, invest that time into their relationship, into their marriage, that's when they get to our age in the 40s and go, I don't know this person. I don't like this person anymore. right? And that's where we're seeing a lot of divorce. And what is it? Over 50% of marriages end in divorce because of this, right? Where if it was just a simple focus, so 20s Mike and Rach, like obviously we did it, right? We did it right. We're still good. We're still hanging on. We're just great. But if you are listening to this and you are struggling in a relationship, really take a hard look. Like, am I investing as much into my marriage and into the relationship with my partner as I do some of my close friendships?
Yeah. What about family? Like, I mean, we have a large extended family, and the relationships with that extended family have evolved and changed over the last 20 years. What kind of guidance would you give to our younger selves on maybe some of those strained relationships, or how to evolve, or maybe even distance some of them too, to be quite honest?
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one, because I think that like a younger person, like in my 20s and even early 30s, there was always like an obligation to maintain relationships with blood relatives because they were blood relatives. And what we've learned, in our late 30s and into our 40s is that a relationship is a relationship is a relationship. Like, it really does not matter if that person is blood related or chosen family. It is there a reciprocal relationship where I'm investing and they're investing? If it's constantly one-sided, or there is a big, how do I explain? A big lack of synergy when it comes to interests or opinions, or even tolerances, or values. It's okay to distance a little bit and not have as close of relationships, right? But tolerance and tolerating, your family, I think is very important. Like, that landscape, and especially in current culture, is really broken. Like, people have a really hard time having disagreements and differing opinions in conversation, and like that becomes a huge splinter in a lot of families or a lot of relationships. So if I were to say, 20-something Rachel, like, regardless of if they disagree or not with you, are they still a person of integrity that you enjoy and that they enjoy you? If they are somebody whose values are so misaligned with yours that they don't treat you well, or they don't treat people well with differing opinions, it's okay to distance. It's okay to step away from that relationship. It's okay to not nurture that relationship out of guilt or obligation because they're blood relation.
Yeah, as you know, like, I don't disagree with anything you just said, but like, I'm very black and white on this one. Like, to me, family gets no exceptions and values.
Yeah.
Like, they can be cut out just as quick as a friend. So,
and that was something I always struggled with a little bit more.
Right. Like, I don't feel a sense of obligation just because we share the same blood that I'm going to have you in my life. Right. That is something that needs to be mutually beneficial and bring value to each of us, or it's not going to work out for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a powerful one, because I think a lot of people feel obligated to stay attached to their family. And, in a lot of ways, you're an extension of your family and you're limited by them at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what your parents became is likely what you're to become unless you change something.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy if you think about that. Because like, I love my parents. Like, they're the best people in the world. I think the world of them. But do I want to do what they did? No, I don't. Like, I have different aspirations. And so I have to evolve into somebody different than who they were. And when you grow up in a household, you tend to take on the characteristics of your parents. Right? Because that's who's teaching you these values and these priorities, right? And even some of these mindsets.
Well, and there's a lot of pressure a lot of times too, especially from family, right? Like, if you're changing, if you're evolving, if you're ascending as a person in your consciousness, in your skill sets, in your financial landscape, if you're ascending further than some of your family ever has or ever thought that they could, or that they thought that you could, and there may be a little bit of a crabs in the bucket effect, right? Where they're maybe taking digs at you or making little comments here and there, and not supporting or being excited for you in a way because they don't know how to, and that's okay. So instead of being upset, it's okay to just distance sometimes, or not have certain subjects come up in conversation if you are still in relation with that person. So
yeah, there's a fine line to appreciate your family for what they are and not try to evolve into something they're not.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yep.
Next one, know who you
Mhm.
are and don't bend on that.
This is a huge one for 20-somethings.
Yeah,
A
20-years
huge
really
one.
struggle with this. This is
They
an
really
identity
do.
challenge, you know?
Yes, exactly. I mean, one of the best things that you and I ever did, and it wasn't until in our 30s we did this, was establish our non-negotiables, right? Establish the pillars in our life and then our core values in our family and our business. And if you can do that early on, Craig Ballantyne, who is a mentor of ours, he was a coach. We paid for proximity with Craig quite a bit. We still do. We were just in a mastermind of his, like in this last year. Um, one of his, uh, one of the things that he talks about is creating a set of values and having rules for your life, right? So some of his were like, a rule is I don't swear, I don't drink alcohol. And those are just rules that he's decided that that's who he is, that's what he wants to live by. That's a value, that's a non-negotiable for him. And he doesn't bend on those, right? When it's a rule, you don't bend. And in your 20s, if you're still kind of trying to figure out like what you want your priorities to be, if you're still trying to figure out who your true friends are, and you haven't personally established your pillars, your values, your
It's
rules.
your identity.
Yeah, that is your identity. And if you're just kind of going with whatever and whoever, and you change a little bit and chameleon yourself depending on who you're with, and you're just kind of bending constantly, you are not going to be solid in your identity. Therefore, you are not going to get very far because you don't know who you are and what you stand for. And so one of the things that we've become probably more polarizing as we've gotten older because we are so rigid and non-negotiable in exactly who we are. But that's how we prefer it.
Why do you think, 20-year-old 20-year-old people or 20-year-old Rachel maybe, not saying this is the case, but just hypothetically, like, why do you think those people like bend and mold who they are based on the environment they find themselves in?
I think it has a lot to do with acceptance, right? Like everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants community. Everybody wants to feel like they belong somewhere. And when you're young and you've got this, experience with maybe your family or with friends from high school or in college or in your early 20s, you're still kind of trying to figure out like who your people are and what you stand for and what it is that you want. And one of the biggest mistakes that I think that young people make is not establishing their personal values, like really reflecting and saying, these are the 5 things that I am completely committed to staying and being and believing in, and nobody's gonna convince me otherwise. So if one of them is I don't drink during the week, right? That was a rule of ours for a long time. I don't drink during the week. Okay, well, I know that if I'm going to go to a networking event on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night and go meet other real estate agents or whatever, that I'm not going to drink. I'm going to have some sparkling water and a wine glass and call it a day. Whereas if I didn't have that rule, if I didn't know who I was, if I didn't set that identity pillar for myself, I would just drink and then feel like shit the next day, and it would be a whole cascade effect of negativity in my life. So I think back to your question, it has a lot to do with community. It has a lot to do with acceptance and wanting to be accepted and not really truly knowing themselves well enough to decide what they want.
Right. And I asked that one partially from curiosity because I as you know, when I was younger, like I just didn't give a shit. I was like, y'all can do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you've always had that conviction. It's very, very inspiring for sure.
All right, next one. Focus and action are what pays you. This is huge. I think we should start by kind of explaining the 80-20 rule, because the 80-20 rule is talked about quite a bit, but I think in some ways it's misunderstood. People think that having their hand in all these different things is the path to massive wealth and like a financial windfall. And you and I have learned the hard way that's really just not the case, right? Massive wealth is found in the simplistic, basic shit done years in a row, right? Like literally like so boring.
Yep.
But it's just compounded over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like time is this crazy component that people massively underestimate, and it results in a compounded effect of your daily action.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So if you can find like what are the 2 or 3 things that you need to do every single day and make sure that you do those things, that you check those boxes, no matter what, every day, 5 days a week, then eventually you get to where you want to go. But people struggle with this so bad because they want to change shit. They want to chase the next shiny object.
They get bored.
And that's where the 80-20 rule starts to come into play, right? About what you're spending 20% of your time on is generating 80% of your income.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again. What you're spending 20% of your time on is generating 80% of your income. This is like super fucked up. What if you, why don't you spend 80% of your time on that stuff?
Exactly.
Right? But people get bored. They can't handle the mundane. They can't handle doing the same shit day in and day out. And they try to overcomplicate things to make it more interesting.
That's exactly right.
It's a really weird, like, just thing, like, dynamic we've figured out over the last few years. You know?
So why do you think that is? Because, like, you know, hypothetically speaking, they're, you know, in your 20s, especially if you're trying to kind of figure it out on your own, which we were very much school of hard knocks, right? We figured it out. We did pay for proximity in a lot of areas, but there was a lot more that we could have probably done and paid for and learned faster. Why do you think people switch it up? Why do you think people get bored? Why do they get distracted? Why do they go chase shiny objects?
It's this weird form of procrastination. Right? Like they just want to procrastinate unintentionally. They want to do it. They're not going to come into the office and say, I don't want to do the work, but they're finding like distractions to keep them from doing the work, basically, is what it comes down to. So, and it happens to everybody. It's just a matter that some are more aware of it and they're able to course correct and say, hey, I'm dicking around over here and I need to go refocus on the stuff that actually moves the needle. Or maybe I need to do some like really careful reflecting and analysis on what does move the needle, get very clear on that. That's like a lot of what coaches do. It's like, what actually makes you money and what's not making you money? How do you stop doing the shit that makes you no money at work? And how do you like 10x the stuff that is actually driving the bottom line?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's just a matter of cutting through the noise and getting total clarity, but clarity comes through reflecting on it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of the focus part, right? The action part, like you're saying, is doing the things, not just thinking about it and planning for it and reflecting on it. That's a part of it. But the action, right? If the action is what pays us, if the action is what generates the revenue, if the action, just continually taking action is what we need to do, like as in your 20s, that's what you need to focus on. Like, stop trying to make things perfect before you just start. Stop trying to make the perfect plan and tell everybody about the plan instead of just stacking proof. That's what you need to do. Just go stack imperfect proof over and over and over. Yeah, and that's what will pay you.
Yeah, just get going.
Exactly right. Next one. Do not neglect the other domains. And of course, if you follow us at all in our Warrior Agent, programs, the Warrior Agent app, we follow the 4 domains is what we kind of focus on. So balance, body, being, and business. And what a lot of people in their 20s will do is they will only focus on 1 or 2 domains and completely disregard the others.
Typically business, yes, for the very driven people, and it comes at their own detriment that they learn later on, like it did for me.
So. I would almost counter that because I think you're right. The driven people will focus on business and neglect the other domains. But what I see more often, I was just having this conversation with my mom actually this morning, is there's a lot of people in their 20s that will say things like, oh, I've got time. So they actually neglect the business domain and they focus on the balance domain, right? They want balance in their life. If you're a 22-year-old and you're bitching about how you need more balance in your life, here's a wake-up call. You're going to be broke at 40.
Right. Yeah, I struggled to relate to that, as you know. Like I worked like there was periods of time where I worked 8 months without a day off, 6 months without a day off. Like I remember work weeks like that. That was just like the balance was earned.
And that's what we chose, right? We chose that for sure. But that's the whole point is like, yes, there's going to be seasons, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast and otherwise, but there's going to be seasons where like I'm in a business focused season. Like this is the domain that I do need to focus on, but I will maintain my balance domain. I will maintain date nights with my wife. I will maintain having 30 minutes of quality eye-to-eye connection time with each of my kids, right? You can still maintain the other domains. Don't neglect them, but it's okay to have seasons in each one.
Yeah, and balance is going to evolve as you become more established. Right?
Exactly.
Like it's going, I put in my show notes, like, microdose it, right? Like it
Yeah.
starts really small. It starts with like 3-day weekends and things like that, or just being present with where you're at. Like not even extra time off, just being like more present with where you are.
Yep.
It starts like creating some phone boundaries, like late at night and getting off social media and shit like that, when you're lying in bed. Like it starts with small things and then it scales up from there.
Exactly. I do think that it was on my notes as well that with the body domain, do not wait to become financially successful to really maintain and focus on the body domain. Like that is the one thing that if I was to say to my 20-year-old self, like, do not ever neglect the body domain, because by the time you're 40, you could do so much damage to your body and you could do so much damage to the longevity of your life by not focusing on it that you will look back and have big regrets. And taking care of the body domain will help improve performance in all other domains.
It'll enhance your capacity in all domains.
Exactly.
One of the things that I had to learn the hard way is that like going really deep on one domain at the expense of the other three does not actually get you to the end result faster. It actually just makes it a lot more painful. Right?
Yeah.
And so if you can understand that, like looking at all four of them and kind of knowing which ones to throttle down and throttle back on, depending on the season, like with what you were just talking about, but not completely neglect or take your eye off the other ones, that's really where the magic is found. Because things like meaningful friendships or going to work out, those are things that are actually going to massively elevate your business. You're going to show up as a different person in business when you've taken care of those things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and nurturing your marriage, right? Like, what we were just watching some documentary or listening to some sort of podcast last night about bodybuilding, and like the most successful bodybuilders in the space.
They're all married,
Every single one of them has a stable home, and they invest in their relationship, and they continue to give back in their marriage. And there's something to be said about that, right? Like if you're in business and you really want to go far in business, having a stable home, having a solid relationship that you've nurtured and you know, given into and contributed to for a really long time, you will go so much further in business having that stability at home. Because if you do not, and that's falling apart, that's a huge distraction. That's pulling you away. It's pulling your brain away, likely pulling your body away from
going
business.
out till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Dicking around with your buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The next one, I told you we'd circle back to financials. Stay out of debt and follow a conservative financial game plan. So I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad might be the best like basic financial book to read. I read it for the first time when I was 15 years old, and it changed my entire perspective on money. I still had to learn the language of money through like a series of hard lessons. But some of the things that I've learned that I'll just share with you guys, I don't think credit cards are like the devil, but I think that allowing your credit card balances to roll over every month is the devil, right? Like use them and use them smart.
Guys, you're paying 25 to 30% of that money every month if you do let that roll over.
Right.
It's insane.
Do not ever we talked about value. Set a value for yourself that you will never allow a credit card balance to roll over to accrue interest. Use your credit cards like we use ours, where you rack up points and whatever else, and they're super convenient, but have them auto pay off every single month.
If you cannot afford to pay off the credit card each month, you should not be using the credit card.
Yeah. The next one, pay off your car as fast as you can. Like I'm a firm believer in not having car payments. We're both Tesla drivers, like because there's no gas bill involved either. So like the car expense part of our household is like nothing, which is pretty cool. Like we charge them and that's it. No gas bill, no oil changes, no car payments. It's pretty awesome.
Well, and it's interesting because the trap that people fall into is, well, it's only 2% interest, only 3% interest. Correct. It totally is. That's still more than what you'd need to pay, right? And it's still a burden every single month. It's still overhead that you're responsible for every single month.
Right.
That's stressful.
The progression after that, and this is going to be really controversial for people. It's just my opinion. I understand people have different opinions of this, but it's to pay off your house. I think getting house mortgage free is really, really important. You can still go take a line of credit against your house so you have that available for business opportunities, but not having a monthly mortgage payment. Like I know a lot of real estate agents that have a $10,000 or a $15,000 a month mortgage payment, and they end up working paycheck to paycheck, like one commission closing to the next to make that damn payment. It's so stupid. Right. So I get that you can invest your money elsewhere and whatever else, but there's a certain amount of stability and peace that comes with having a mortgage payment.
100%. And to that point, this next point here, live well below your means. I mean, you and I, people see our lives now and they're like, oh, well, they're building a new house and they go on trips with their kids and they drive Teslas and they do all these things. Well, you didn't see the literal 15 years where we still live below our means, but we lived so far below our means. We did not drive nice cars. We don't buy designer clothing. We did not go shopping often. We kept the budget for the groceries very, very limited every single month. Like, we were very intentional about living well below our means for a long, long time. And our kids never noticed. I know kids never noticed that they wore secondhand clothes. The kids never noticed that they didn't have a ton of toys or video games or consoles or shit. Like, we live well below our means intentionally so that we could put away the money, pay off the debt, and not have the stress of that overhead every single month looming over us like a black cloud.
Right? Dave Ramsey has this famous saying, live like no one else so you can live like no one else, right?
Good,
like,
yeah.
Like sacrifice
Yep.
so you can experience delayed gratification of complete financial freedom.
Exactly. And I think, again, that kind of circles back to having knowing your own identity, having your personal rules, your values, what you want to do. Because if you haven't established who you are, what you want, and you haven't solidified your identity, either as a couple, as a family, or as an individual when you're young, then you're going to be kind of a keeping up with the Joneses kind of situation, which a lot of people fall into. They'll go and they'll buy boats, or they'll buy RVs, or they'll buy nice trucks, or they'll buy this designer purses or bags or clothes or shoes to keep up or to be trendy or to be relevant. And are you really, is that really important? Is that as important as being financially stable in your 40s and 50s? Is it? Like, ask yourself that. And if it's not, then you need to probably revisit where you're spending your money.
Yeah, and the last one on the financial side is invest 25% of your earnings into some kind of investment account and just be like hands off on it.
Don't touch it.
Yep, don't touch it.
Let it accrue.
The last thing that we'll just leave with you guys, because this one's getting pretty long, is to really understand the force multipliers. Like, these are the levers that move the needle big time. And I think for real estate agents, because it's a lot of our audience, it's leverage in the form of an assistant. Like, you need that as fast as you can possibly afford it. Like, if you've got 90 days of savings in the bank and you're on an upward trajectory with your production, go hire an assistant today, because that's going to buy back your time and allow you to do higher income producing activities, sell more, and work less, which is what we're all about, right? The other big leverage piece is the personal leverage. Maybe you can speak about that for just a minute, but figuring out what to hand off in your personal life to others that you just don't need to do, and that's going to allow you to live a better life, that's going to allow you to actually relax when you're not working, and that's going to allow you to focus your energy on your work as well.
Yeah. So, I think we've done podcasts on this and talked about personal leverage and professional leverage before, but the biggest one, depending on the season you're in, your kids' ages, the biggest one for sure is, a nanny or some sort of house helper with your kids, right? Like, caretaking of kids is the biggest expense outside of mortgages for most families with young kids. So that's definitely one that's a huge piece of leverage. Our kids are now a little bit older, so, lucky us, we've got teenagers who can take care of themselves and don't need babysitters and nannies anymore. So it's now a house manager. So somebody who's taking care of the laundry and the food prep and cleaning up and, doing housework and cleaning the house and that kind of a thing, so that, I'm not coming home after a 7, 8, 10 hour day and having to do the laundry and having to make all of our proteins.
Those are what stay-at-home moms frequently do, and it's a full-time job.
It absolutely is. It absolutely
people are just
is.
very slow to realize this for some reason.
Yes, exactly. Especially for the women, the moms out there, I resonate big time with thinking that not only can I work and make sure that my kids are taken care of, but I can also do all the house things. And that's how you literally sprint into burnout as fast as possible. So definitely the force multiplier in this situation, to be able to work, to be able to prioritize things that you need to, is getting that home leverage.
For guys, landscaper. If I see you mowing your lawn, we got some conversation.
Unless you just love it and it's your hobby.
No, go
do
sell
your
more
thing.
houses.
Do your thing.
Sell more houses or go to the gym. Stop cutting the damn lawn. And then get the right team around you as the other force multiplier. And so this would include the right CPA, the right tax attorney, the right actual I want to call them like a litigation attorney, but like a business attorney. These are like key relationships that you need to establish. It took us a really long time to find the right CPA. Like I think we went through like 5 of them.
Sure did.
We lucked out on the attorney side of things. Like we have a fantastic attorney and we've had like an 8-year relationship with them. But you need those people in your corner to guide you. And same thing with financial advisor.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
You know, the right financial advisor, I really think can lead you down the right path of achieving whatever your financial goals. Like if we set a goal on when we want to be able to walk away from our business if we wanted to, not that we would, but we just said, hey, on this date at this time, we want to walk away. What do we need to have? And he like got us total clarity, figured out everything we needed to do. Our job was simply make sure we fund the account. His job is to make sure that the account makes money.
And having him there to make decisions like, hey, we're going to trade in this car and buy this car and pay it off. Like, what do you think of that decision? And being able to bounce those kinds of things off of him and have him be like, that makes total sense because you're making more money in this account than you would pay the interest. So pay off that car. Absolutely. Even though it's a short-term cash crunch, it's going to be a long-term better for you, right? So being able to bounce things off of people is very, very important.
So we went pretty long today, but there is, I think, a lot of great lessons in here, and there's kind of like a framework that if you listen to this, you can really get a lot from it. And even if you're not like in your 20s, but maybe you're in your 30s or 40s and you're trying to start over, you're trying to figure out like how to really get going to where you want to be, this could be a framework for you that you really pursue, you know? So if you want to get in touch with us, you can go on to meetthenovaks.com. We are part of Real Brokerage, and so we sponsor and mentor agents across the entire country. We also have a masterclass that you can purchase for, I think it's $497 and learn all of our frameworks for buyers and sellers. It's like 50 modules in there, 58 modules and a work done. So check those out, and we will see you guys next week.
See you then. That's a wrap on today's episode of Growth Drivers.
If you found value in this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a fellow entrepreneur.
For more insights, tools, and resources, visit us at thewarrioragent.com.
Keep pushing forward, keep leading with purpose, and we'll see you next time.